All right, we are recording now, and we will get ready to go live here. Are you ready to go live?
Ready?
Okay.
I'm always ready.
All right, we're going live now, and we are live now. Oops. Yeah. So, welcome to the show, Joe Renner. Uh, I watched. I think it was the when you got kicked out of. No. The first video I seen was the the black gentleman was waking up the lady who was on drugs.
Officer kicks him low.
Yeah.
Since he wouldn't identify, that's the name I gave him. Officer kicks him low.
Yeah.
So, although there's been some contention on whether that was a kick or a nudge, but Webster's dictionary defines it as a kick, so it's a kick. So,
yeah.
As gentle as he may have been while he was kicking the homeless person on the ground, he was still kicking.
Yeah.
So, and you don't treat people like that.
Yeah. It's you're yeah. But I've met that gentleman a few times because I work used to work at or not used to, but occasionally I work at public housing, and that's one of my jobs, and
You do security by chance for public housing?
yeah.
Then I think the first time I met you was over at Dairy Queen.
Where at?
Over in that area by State Street.
State Street.
Then I believe I was performing an audit at Dairy Queen Grill and Chill on State, and I think it was either Sherman or St. Mary's, one of the two. The Dairy Queen there.
What?
I think I might have met you there before.
At Beacon.
I'm thinking, like,
yeah.
Did you approach an officer at an incident there where there was a drunk gentleman that was coming up to a guy with a camera?
Oh.
There, it would have been the name of the audit is Dairy Queen Grill and Chill. I have it there, and I believe I could be mistaken.
It could have been. So I have an unofficial brother. He's not actually my brother, but he looks almost. Everybody gets us confused.
Yeah, he worked in public housing, and you look a lot like him.
Yeah.
But he works right down the street from that Dairy Queen.
Yeah, I think it would have been Beacon Heights if it was one of us. So, yeah.
It's a small world.
Yeah.
It's a small, big city.
It is. And I meet it. No, I meet a lot of people. I just when I'm working, I'm in that workspace.
Yeah,
so
you're in a different headspace.
And there's a lot of stuff that happens at those places. So there's a lot of
yeah. So officer kicks him low. Yeah. I mean, I just walked up and I seen this woman on the ground, and it looked, she wasn't responsive to the person that was across the street talking to her or trying to talk to her. Yeah. He was like checking her pulse and everything, and he couldn't get a response. So I told him, I said, you might want to call an ambulance. Call 911. I mean, this person is obviously unresponsive on the ground on the sidewalk. And when you look at a person on the ground on the sidewalk, you're not thinking, is this just a homeless person sleeping, or is this somebody having a medical emergency? That's not what you're thinking. You're not thinking, oh, this is just another homeless person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you call for an ambulance and a cop shows up and starts nudging them on the ground, that's not how you wake up a person that's unresponsive on the ground. You do a sternum rub. That's how you do it. That's the professional way to do it. That's how you respectfully do it. It may hurt a little bit, but that's the way you do it.
Yeah. So I've only met I've only met him there twice at different locations, and both times he's actually been pretty respectable. The first time I think he didn't really talk much to me. The second time
he probably didn't think you were a homeless person.
Well, yeah.
So he'd probably have treated you with a whole lot less respect if he thought you were a homeless person.
I mean, sometimes some officers don't have respect for even like if you are, because at a lot of different companies, and depending on the guard, they might call the police for like everything, every little thing. And so
people call police just for any old reason. They'll call the police. They'll call 911 if they're uncomfortable with anything, really.
Yeah. And so they get mad at us. So like then automatically every security, like some of them are really nice, some of them are really they treat you like dirt.
And then 99% of the time they'll make up some fictitious story to get the police to rush there, you know, and the police come in thinking it's coming in hot, thinking that there's something really wrong there, and it ends up just being some guy taking pictures on the sidewalk. That's it.
Yeah,
99% of the time.
A lot of the security guards are like like I don't know why they work in that field, because a lot of times they're like chickens, like they're really scared of everything. Sometimes they're scared of little shadow, and it's like, why did you pick this job of all?
It's hard to be a security guard if you're not secure with yourself.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
I can't see that. Yeah,
it's and they just call. But anyway, so.
Hey, you wanted to go off script. So
no, nothing's off script. So, but yeah, like I seen that video, and then but he's like I don't know, like it's but I kind of get where he's coming from. Not like kicking, but like I see it where like you get tired of like once you deal with it so many times, you become kind of and that's not an excuse. It's not like I'm not saying that that's something that's acceptable.
I think what you're trying to say, the officers are frustrated because they can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
they really are. And like if they had that Anchor Resource Center, then at least they'd have a place to take them, and maybe that would alleviate some of that frustration. But when an officer shows up and they know they can't do anything about it, but wake them up and have them move, or arrest them now. Now they can arrest them for sleeping in public. And
it's the same people like a lot of the time.
So all these people that are going to get arrested for sleeping in public, what's going to happen to them is if they don't have a bed somewhere, which they don't because all the shelters are full, then they take them to jail. And they take them to jail, and that's going to cost the taxpayers way more than Anchor Resource Center ever would.
Yeah, well, I think the reasonable fix is allowing people to sleep at like having certain times and certain places where it's okay for them if they are outside, regardless of like just like hey from like I think like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or no 11. I think the parks close at like 11 or where you can sleep on the bench there, but just got to be gone and not have a mess in the morning.
Right.
I mean, it's not a perfect fix, but at least then you're not getting like to jail for trying to like not
right.
But
like you've seen that person that they're called Local Lesbian. They have a channel here locally. No. She's pretty popular. She's more of a leftist and whatnot, but she was speaking on that about the for-profit prison systems and how they could take homeless people off the street for violating the law, put them in the for-profit prison systems, and and you know what? It makes sense. It makes sense what she's talking about.
Oh yeah.
It does.
Maybe I might
sense.
know who you're talking about.
Yeah. If you just type in Local Lesbian on into your search bar on Facebook, you'll find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's one of the people that spoke out against or for the Anchor Resource Center and that sort of thing.
Yeah, which
of course she's not a liberal, she's a socialist.
Yeah.
Either way, we don't agree on 99% of the things that's going on, you know what I mean?
But there's always something we agree on eventually.
But you know what? That doesn't mean that she doesn't make great points. She does make great points. And it's definitely things we should be talking about and discussing and having, good, healthy, open dialogue about.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, we'll back up a little bit. How did you get started doing this?
No, it's all right.
You said what?
Yeah, nothing. I'm just waiting. You want to get back on?
I said, how did you get started?
Well, actually, I started off on the left. I started off 2008, 2009 during the Occupy movement.
Yeah.
I've always been a constitutionalist, but I seen how they were treating all these Occupy protesters, like in the larger cities and whatnot, and it really disgusted me because they weren't following the law,
Yeah.
and and the left and the right had a basic agreement on, the problems that the country was facing. The disagreement was how they dealt with it, but mainly,
Yeah.
and and it was just ridiculous to me. And so I went out myself, and I went out there in support of them protesting.
Gotcha.
Not necessarily for what they were protesting for necessarily, but or even how they were doing it. Setting up tents in public parks and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I appreciated the shock value and the media value that brought.
Oh yeah.
Because it brought attention to what they were saying, and that's the whole point of it, right? You want people to see what you're saying, and at least start the dialogue.
You got to act out a little, or not act out. You just got to be a little something different to catch people's attention. Otherwise, nobody cares.
You have to look where the red line is, and you got to push on it every once in a while.
Yeah.
You definitely have to push on it. You got to see how far they're going to go.
Yeah. Definitely.
Without crossing the line, you got to be able to see how far they go, and you can't be afraid to do it.
Yep. Yep. So, and then
it comes down to knowledge, really. I mean, once you have that knowledge, and you know what they can and cannot do, and know what you can and cannot do, as long as you don't cross that line, you're fine.
Yeah. Well, most times.
Yeah. Now see, one time I did not have the knowledge. One time. Yeah. Because I made a mistake and I didn't do enough research.
Gotcha.
And I got arrested for trespassing for crossing onto an abandoned easement. Now, if you don't know what an abandoned easement is, you're not the only one, because nobody knows. I had to look it up. Even when I went and looked it up downtown, it took them a couple days to find out exactly what it is and what it meant. When the city abandons an easement, basically what they do is they're no longer using those utilities on that easement. And Indiana law says that it'll fall back into the ownership of the immediately adjacent property owner.
Oh, so it becomes private property, basically.
Yeah, so it's not listed on a GIS as private property. It's listed as an abandoned easement. And I was under the understanding that a public easement's a public easement, but an abandoned easement's not a public easement. And I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing, though, that annoys me.
I was able to do a pretrial diversion, because obviously I wasn't trying to break the law.
Yeah.
And they could see I wasn't trying to break the law, even though I did break the law unknowingly. They gave me a pretrial diversion. It cost me $180-something, and
well, that's the unfair part, though.
For doing something stupid, then again, I should say.
Well, that's the unfair part, is if you make a mistake.
Normally, I'm a lot more careful than that,
Yeah.
And so I put out a second video. And the second video, I pointed out all the mistakes that I made in that second video. And because it's the whole point of what I do is education on the Constitution. That's the whole point. Education and conversation.
Yeah. It's the unfair part is when you make a mistake, you get hammered for it. When they make a mistake, it's kind of, for most times, it's like a shoulder shrug, like, oops, and then that's it.
Well, if you've seen the Arab Bus Tyrants video, then I don't think anybody can say that those officers acted appropriately. I don't think anybody can. But you know what the Fort Wayne Police Department did? They said they acted appropriately.
Oh, yeah. They're always going to. They can't admit guilt. Otherwise, they know they're going to pay.
We watched the same video that you watched, and there must have been something there that we didn't see, because they must have acted appropriately.
Yep, that's crazy. Cause like even the just the base claims that they were making, like, were untrue. Like they were complaining about because you came in by the stage, and then they said that you were like. But there was no one on the stage. The lady was sitting there. it didn't make any sense. And then
No, it didn't make any sense at all. But the moment I walked through that gate, though, she singled me out. You could see it in her eyes. She was following me with her eyes the entire time I was there. I didn't get anywhere near those ladies at all.
Yeah.
I was the closest I was 6 feet.
Yeah, and the other lady was taking pictures and video too. Like you walk past and they didn't say nothing to her. Like,
right.
It's crazy.
I've had skin cancer, and I probably have it again, but I just don't have medical insurance to get it taken care of at the moment. And so when I'm out in direct sunlight for a long period of time, I will wear a mask. And that's not the only reason I wear it. I also wear it as a conversation starter. Because people ask me, why are you wearing a mask? Well, multiple reasons. One reason is medical. Second reason is if I'm out in public and I demand privacy for myself, then I have to create it myself.
Yeah.
Because there's no privacy in public. That's the law.
Yep.
And it gives me an opportunity to tell them that. So if they come across some 13 or 15-year-old doing a TikTok on the sidewalk, they're not going to attack the kid for taking pictures on the sidewalk because they know it's legal.
Yeah. And I seen part of a video. I think with the officer coming out, or you're actually there off of like was that Broadway?
Over by Matt Anthony Brewery.
Yeah, I think isn't like the Golden Walk or something that's over there or something.
Yeah.
And then the officer. I mean, that officer actually seemed kind of.
He didn't do too bad. I mean, you could tell right off the bat he was put off. Because you can't see my face. You're immediately gonna feel suspicious. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, if I go out and I see someone walking down the street wearing a mask, I'm gonna turn my attention that direction.
Yeah.
Me, I'm not going to approach them and say, "Hey, why are you walking around wearing a mask?" any more than I'm going to go around to anybody else and say, "Why are you wearing blue shoes?" or "Why are you wearing that hat?"
Yeah.
It just seems like a stupid, ridiculous thing to do in 2026. Is confront somebody how they're dressed. You got people walking around in burkinas and all kinds of things these days.
Yeah.
I seen a guy dressed as Spider-Man walking down the street the other day.
Yeah.
And you know what? I did not ask him why he was dressed as Spider-Man. I just accepted he was dressed as Spider-Man. I said, "Hey, Spider-Man," and I waved. And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think he was on his way to rob a bank or anything.
I mean, he could have been, but no, I'm just kidding.
He could have been. It's possible. Anything's possible.
I'll just kidding.
But my mind don't immediately go to the negative stuff. What I mean? I'm thinking, he's coming from a play down at the embassy, or maybe he's at a kid's birthday party as Spider-Man or something like that. I'm not thinking, he's dressed up as Spider-Man to attract kids. You know what I mean? My mind don't go to the negative stuff automatically. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
And I find it hard to believe how many people's mind immediately go to like the worst case scenario. It's insane to me. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like where you live, too. On the because it can get a little spicy on some of the urban parts when you.
I used to run the Belmont Beverage there on Anthony and McKinney.
Yeah.
I ran that for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I lived on Oliver Street where that shooting happened just today.
Yep.
Or last night.
Yeah.
And I have never had any issues over there with public photography. None.
No.
None.
Yeah. Not public.
Now, wearing a mask.
But yeah,
walking down the street, I see it all the time. I see people doing it all the time.
It is.
And no, you know what? People, they just don't bother the person walking down the street wearing a mask.
Yeah,
it's just another person walking down the street.
Most of the time, the places I work, there was this thing. It was really popular, like just a few months ago, and last year too. They're called YNs, and they wear like the mask and stuff. And we're like, I work. Some of them, they just wear it, and then other people, there's other people that wear it, and they break in the cars and stuff, or they kick in people's doors and rob them, and
they're not walking around in the middle of the day doing it.
Yes.
And they're special, and 99% of the time they're not walking around with a big stick and a camera on it.
Well, no, I'm not saying that the camera
You know.
thing is. I'm just saying like people suspicious. Like
Yeah.
depending on where you are, people are
Yeah.
more suspicious.
Now, if you've seen a guy wearing a mask and he's hiding behind some bushes, then that might be something you would be worried about, right?
It's not even that. Like you. Sorry. So, uh, broad daylight, midday, like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Uh, there was a group. They just went out, uh, walked out the back of their apartment, went out, started breaking in glasses and stuff, taking stuff out of vehicles. Luckily, Fort Wayne PD eventually did catch one of them, I think, but then it ended up, due to lack of, for whatever reason, they had to let him go. And then the same people were like known for like walking around, like they'd walk around with guns and flash guns at the kids' park and stuff. Like,
see, they're already engaged in illegal activity. I mean, they're not just walking around with a mask.
Well, I'm not saying that they're, but I'm saying like people associate different things depending on where
I mean, it's kind of like this. For instance, like me, I do First Amendment audits, but I don't talk to anybody. I don't rage bait people. I don't.
Yeah.
If somebody talks to me, I'll talk to them back. And I'll give people the same energy they give me. Absolutely. Yeah. If somebody's cool with me, I'm going to be real cool with them. If somebody's an asshole to me, you better watch out because I know how to be an asshole.
Yeah.
I do. I know how, and I have no problem doing it if it comes to that. But I prefer the good, friendly interactions. I have a bunch of them.
Yeah. Which I'm not actually sure why people get, like, I've seen some of the videos and they get hostile, and you haven't said anything to them. It doesn't really make sense, like, why they're
right.
so angry. Like,
if you watched, I don't know, did you watch the full video where, like, within 2 minutes and 2 seconds, 2 minutes and 22 seconds of arriving there, I was approached.
The guy on the bike?
It was immediate hostility from the moment I arrived.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was because I was speaking religion on the sidewalk later on, that I was later on, told that I can't be there because I was talking to the guy at the front gate on the sidewalk, about religion. We were discussing it, Obviously we have very different points of view, him being a Muslim recruiter and me being a Christian, we have different viewpoints, but right after I spoke to him, his wife got up from the chair that they had set up at the front of the gate and went back inside, walked straight over to the police officers.
That could be.
Yeah, and if you watch the full video, it wasn't until after I re-entered after talking to that guy on the sidewalk that they suddenly came up and said, "Oh, they're uncomfortable with you being here."
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Right.
But they were obviously uncomfortable from the very start, for some reason.
Yeah. No, that's one of the things. Like, I think the police need to be like trained a little bit better on being like more friendly, I guess, or not like more. I guess you could say professional in a sense, like a more of a customer service attitude.
They definitely lack professionalism. An officer should not walk up to a person and the first thing he does is starts accusing them of things, and telling me that I need to understand why they're uncomfortable. I don't need to understand anything about anybody. It's not my responsibility to make sure somebody else is comfortable. I mean, get them a pillow, get them some Preparation H. I don't know what do you want? Leave me alone. I didn't do anything. I'm just here taking pictures, enjoying the festival.
Yeah. So what did I know the police, did the mayor ever comment on it or anything?
No, which is not surprising. I mean, it's her administration, it's her police department, her choices of command, the only thing that she's done as far as the Fort Wayne Police Department that I approve of so far is getting rid of that Chief Cottle. Yeah. Chief Cottle was completely inaccessible to anybody. He wouldn't even return emails from city council members. I've had city council members try to arrange a meeting between us, and he would not even respond to city council members. So that was the only good move as far as Mayor Tucker goes.
Yeah. That's kind of like, how do you not respond? You're like, basically, they're pretty much your boss, like,
Well,
to in a sense.
they should be, but the mayor is the one that
Yeah.
decides.
Yeah.
And we know Mayor Tucker's a liberal, and
Yeah.
well, let's just say personal liberty is not really a strong point for liberals and Democrats in general.
Yeah. Yeah. But so like uh do you have any do you have any plans for any new audits, or like is there any like major events that you plan on going, and is there
Well,
anything you're gonna do different uh when you go to the
well, I've already started doing things a little bit differently since I've started auditing. I mean, it's a learning process. It really is,
yeah
because the whole thing is a learning process. I mean, when you react to people, I mean, you try to negotiate your way into getting people to think. And it's very difficult to do these days because most people don't really have the vocabulary to
yeah
even express themselves these days, much less understand what you're saying.
yeah
And it's
yeah I know
difficult.
yeah I do a lot of
It's like,
negotiating, so
yeah, it's like trying to explain physics to a third grader. Sometimes it
yeah
really is.
it yeah I know exactly what you're talking about, actually,
I, I,
unfortunately.
I can lead them to knowledge, but I can't make them think.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, uh, yeah. I know. I'm smiling because I like. There's like I'm thinking of like 100 different conversations that I've had, and like it just reminded me. Um, uh, we share a mutual friend, Joseph Townsend.
I
Uh,
like Joe.
how exactly do you know him? Like, or how far does Uh,
I've known Joe for well over a decade.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. I actually ran for Allen County Council one time, and I
Yeah.
ran for Fort Wayne City Council one time.
That's awesome.
Uh, and we kind of met in different politico circles. You know,
Yeah.
uh, Joe's a little bit more fundamentalist Christian than I am.
Yeah.
In his practices. Uh, I'm more socially liberal than Joe.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Um.
but as far as loving liberty and loving the Constitution, Joe's your man. He's a good, honest man, and he's going to do what he thinks is right by him and God,
Yep.
and he really will,
Yeah.
even to his own detriment if that's what it takes.
Yeah. That's what I like
So
about Joe. Like it
yeah,
just you get what you see is what you get, and
it is. I mean, he's not going to bullshit you, you
yeah.
know, and he's just a generally good guy. He really is,
Yeah.
and he's smart. He's smart as hell, obviously.
Yeah. I,
Obviously, he's smart as hell, and we need people with good business sense on council. We really do.
oh yeah.
I no longer live in Joe's district, so I can't vote for him.
Yeah.
I'm living downtown now, so Jeff Paddock currently is my councilman.
Gotcha.
Um, I don't know. I like Jeff too. I do, but Jeff is more interested in how people see him, I think, than he's interested in making sure that people's rights and liberties are protected.
Yeah. He's more interested in getting reelected.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much like most of that's what
I,
I've seen is like
I was told a
90%.
long time ago. I was told a long time ago politicians only fear two things: going hungry and losing their job. And
Yeah.
none of them are going to go hungry anytime soon.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. So what said you ran? What made you want to run? In
Originally, I was going to run for city council first because I wanted to experience the process of it because I just didn't know the process of it.
yeah,
I could see these elected officials getting in. I could see that the more money they had, the more likely they're going to get elected. And and this takes me back to 2008, back with money in politics. The whole Occupy movement.
yeah,
And so I wanted to see the process to see if I could do it. I'm just a normal average Joe. I work a regular job. and could I run for office and have any kind of success?
Yeah.
And so I looked into the process. Originally, I was going to run for city council, but then as I looked into the process, I seen that your chances of getting locally elected are better if you run for another office where you're less likely to get elected, but you also have more coverage, like the county council.
Yeah.
It increases your name recognition, gets your platform out there for people to see, gets people to see who you are and what kind of person,
Yeah.
And so I ran for council. I didn't get very many people voting for me at all. I think less than 1,000 people voted for me. But that's okay because I did learn the process. And then when I followed up and ran for city council, I learned that, well, guess what? The election laws change a little bit every single election, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just enough so that they can hit you with fines, like for being, 5 seconds late on turning in your paperwork, or, things to disqualify you. And just little things they do to change the election laws every single year. They'll change them. And just to catch you up, I feel like that's what it's for.
I mean, it does. Anyone that reads, if you go and read them,
like they're just tweaking it or whatnot.
Yeah.
But in essence, what it does is every year something's different, and you really have to research the whole process every year. Because if you don't, you're going to miss deadlines. You're going to, and you're going to end up getting fines or, or possibly even charges sometimes, depending.
Yeah, like last year, well, or not last year, it was this year. Why am I talking about last year? When they did the, I ran for, I do this thing where I forget what I'm trying to say when I get ready. But delegate, I ran for delegate just to see the process, just like that. And but as I was looking at the election laws and stuff, because I was like, well, maybe I'll run for legislature or something like that, or because I don't go through a party, so when I did the delegate, I did, but like had I not done that, I just go. I want to do write-in candidate, like it's difficult, but like the people who done it, I think there's only a few people who've done it in Indiana. Like they made history, so but you're right. There's a lot of the laws that are made it to exclude a lot of just ordinary people from being able to run.
Yeah.
So it
definitely makes it much more difficult for your average person to say, you know what, I want to run locally. I want to affect my, your chances are way better locally than they are nationally for sure.
Yeah.
But again, those little changes are enough to throw people off. At the end of the day, I think I ended up paying a $25 fee because I turned my paperwork in at 1:00 instead of noon. And it's like, okay, well, some people don't have that extra $25. They just don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people do, some people don't. Luckily I did,
Yeah.
But had I not had that fee, what's the result of not paying a fine? Or fine.
It
compounds, and pretty soon you're going to be broke, all for just wanting to participate in your government.
Yeah, and if you're actually notable when you run, like your opponent is looking for you to slip up. You know what I mean? Like the more
absolutely.
traction you get.
Well, one thing I found is that, well, I think we all know local media is going to endorse who they want to endorse, and everybody else, they're not even going to mention your name. Not going to mention your name. Like I had trying to set up an interview with Kevin Lennier back when I was running, right?
Yeah. And
they ended up airing the story before I could interview with them, and then they posted I wasn't available for comment. that sort of thing. It's like the media will basically try to shut you down for their preferred candidates, and they're well known for setting the narratives and picking winners.
Oh well, I mean, I think the party picks the winners first. because they really get to
The
select.
parties pick the candidates, not the winners.
Well, no,
Now,
I mean,
the people who get the most name recognition are generally the ones that win, and a lot of that requires media attention.
well, yeah, but at the same time, the money, like when the establishment of the party, the ones with power, like
Yeah.
if you're their pick, then all of a sudden it's
Oh, yeah.
easier for money to
Well,
flow, the
well,
media and
it's
stuff.
it's got to do more with just being their pick. Like, for instance, when I was running in the primary, for instance, the Allen County Republican Party, you have to donate so much of your income, whether you win or lose.
Yeah,
Whether you win or lose your race, you got to
yeah,
donate so much of your income to the Allen County Republican Party for them to endorse you. So if you
yeah,
see a sign up on their window, it's because that person paid them money to endorse you.
yep.
So
It makes sense.
and that's where you pay to play. That's what it is. It's pay
It
to play.
is. It is, and that's
And I actually straight up told Steve Shine, you know what? I don't do pay to play. I don't do it.
yeah,
I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative. And values are important to me, and I don't think I should have to pay a party to be a member of it. I mean, if I support the Republican Party 100%, but I
yeah,
don't think I should be required to give a so much of my pay
yeah,
in order for them to say, yeah, he's a good Republican, when I'm actually am a good Republican.
yeah,
It's the money that talks, and for them, that's what it is. It's the money, and it's
yeah,
sad. It really is, because we're missing out on so many patriots in office because of it.
yeah. I mean, because it's nah. Well, I stay away from that. That's a rant in itself. But yeah, that drives me nuts because a lot of my friends are people who are really good candidates, like
Yeah,
John Kenworthy, and Mike Felker.
yeah,
Like, and not, I mean, I originally liked Eric too, Whalen, or I think I always mess up his name, but but they always get overlooked, and I'm like, those are some of the best people. Like, if you got and their ideas, but the thing I notice is that the Republican Party is not interested in their ideas of like liberty or the things that you would think that you think of when you think of like Republicans, or and when they talk about us or Republicans in history. I used to be a Republican, but uh, that's no longer the case. And like I often I see they overlook the small person for like the big corporations. So like they always talk about they don't have tax money, but then they have these big corporations come and they give them tax breaks and stuff like that, where they don't have to pay taxes for a long. It doesn't make any sense because like, what's the point if they're not? You always
now,
talk about.
when you say they don't have to pay any tax, that's not accurate.
Well, I'm not saying they have to pay
That's
any
not
tax.
accurate.
Yeah,
You know it's not accurate.
yeah,
But I mean, as far as like the rich go, the rich people who own these companies pay way more in taxes than you and I.
oh yeah. But I mean like the actual company, not the individual.
And if it wasn't for these big companies, who would hire them?
Like, I mean,
Who,
so like,
where would your average person get a job if it wasn't for these people that have a motivation, which is profit, to start a business?
oh, well, so like, it's not necessarily that it's just a big company. Like, we're talking about like bringing large corporations from outside of Indiana, right? And
Yeah.
like, if you want to know, like, the average person, like the Hoosiers, if you invest in Hoosier business, like, there's so many people I've met that have had businesses and they're struggling because of whether red tape or whatever. Like, like if you invested in the people, like, you would unlock so much wealth and so much.
Now,
Like,
are,
go ahead.
are you proposing that the government invest in like private businesses?
No. I'm proposing that the government
Or
help like roll back some of these restrictions, and if you
like that?
unrestrict, you allow the actual. You'll have big businesses that are Indiana
Oh,
based.
yeah, like environmental restrictions and You know,
Yeah.
all, I mean, some of them are absolutely necessary, yeah, but
Oh yeah,
a lot of
some
them,
of them, yeah,
a lot of them are just there to tie your hands and for the government to be able to have more control,
yeah,
over your business.
yeah.
So,
And I see them like they'll bring in other businesses and set them in places uh, that now bring like it creates competition against local businesses, and a lot of times those local businesses can't compete. Um, and like so that, but and then my buddy Mike Felker, he brought it like he point like he's on it when it comes to like the remember the electric bills were going up and the gas bills and stuff. Well, the Republican remember they were like, oh, we got to figure out like what's going on. Like it was their fault in the first place. They approved that, and then they tried to act like, oh, well, we don't know what's going on. Like what's happening? Like that to me is like there's no the Democrats do the same thing, and it's almost like we're becoming getting to this place where like we're stuck between two parties looking out for themselves, and it's like I can't like. Sorry,
well,
I didn't mean to go on a.
no,
Um,
no, no, I understand completely. I used to say that the two-party system was put in place as a means of control to put the people against the people. You know, two birds,
so,
on the same point.
oh yeah, and the founders warned us
I mean,
about it.
but in the last 15, 20 years, I would have to say it's there's been more of a drastic difference. There's more of a drastic difference um, with the onset of wokeness and denying reality in favor of feelings. Uh, when that began, and when they began to be taught in the schools on a regular basis, and pride flags are posted up in classrooms, and
Yeah.
when it gets that far, then there's some very real differences. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
but 20 years ago, I would have agreed 100%. Two sides of the same coin,
Yeah.
because absolutely that's what it was. Most of the Republicans were in favor of what the liberals were doing, and most of the Democrats were in favor of what the Republicans were doing, and
Yeah.
because they made money off each other. You
Yeah.
know,
I'm not saying there's
they're
not
all
drastic differences, but I think the way we're pitted
bipartisanship
against each
is
other is on
stagnation.
purpose.
Yeah, bipartisanship is stagnation.
Yeah, and that's what the founders warned us against is factions, and then how
Yeah,
we would be controlled by those factions, and how we'd start to hate each other, and then we would allow people in our own like so. If we would accuse other factions of being unconstitutional or breaking the law, and when they were in power, and then as soon as our people get in power, then all of a sudden we're willing to overlook those things and allow it to happen and make arguments for why it's okay. Like that becomes that's dangerous to the republic. Um,
it is.
and
Absolutely.
loyalty is loyalty to a person is not very far from treason. So,
We need to judge ourselves by our own measures that we judge them with.
yep. I mean, at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
power rests with us. So, but them keeping us fighting each other is why we can never like make any meaningful like reform or because
Yeah.
the other side's the devil always. So
Right. So, but I'm gonna go backwards to a question you asked about
yep,
when this all started.
yep. Okay, sorry.
Um, that's when I first started my activism, and my studies into constitutional law and into government and the processes. I wanted to understand how it worked, not that it just did, and accept it.
Yeah,
I like to understand how things work. I like to get into the meat of it. And so after doing this, and fast forward from 2008 when I first began up to 2020 when we had the lockdowns. Okay.
yeah,
When the lockdowns began, I blatantly violated them because, well, I don't like people telling me what to do, first
yeah,
of all.
yeah,
and nowhere in the Constitution does it say it's suspended if all of a sudden people get sick.
yeah,
Yeah. And so I blatantly did, I went where I wanted, did what I want, and I didn't care. I seen the arrows in the grocery stores and I walked the opposite direction. I went in the outdoor and out the indoor, just to be defiant against this whole COVID bullshit.
Yeah.
And I was purposely, never wore a mask. The only time I ever had to wear a mask was in my job because I worked in food service, and the restaurant wasn't allowed to be open unless everybody was wearing masks. So I had to wear a mask to earn my living.
Yeah.
But other than that, I didn't wear it. And I attended a lot of different rallies down at the Capitol or in Indianapolis. Two or three of them, down the Capitol against mask mandates, against lockdowns, against vaccine mandates.
Yeah.
And then on January the 2nd, I believe it was, maybe it was the 3rd, I think it was the 2nd, I woke up to 5 police officers hovering over me in my bed.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, needless to say, I was a little shocked. Most people don't wake up and see a bunch of cops staring at them in their bed.
Yeah, what happened? Or I should ask why.
Well, it was obviously New Year's going into the weekend. All right. And it was a long weekend because it was the New Year's was right before the holiday weekend. So it was an extended holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. I had my daughters over for, I had partial custody at that time. There were 12 turning 13, I believe, or 13 turning 14. They were pubescent, basically.
Yeah.
And you know how females are when they're in puberty. Right?
Yeah.
Their brains are crazy, their emotions are crazy, whatnot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So come 11, 12 o'clock at night, my kids were still in their room on their phones, and I'm like, they're fine as long as they're on their phones, right?
Yeah.
So I let them go. Comes around 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning, they're still in their room loud on their phones. So I yell at them. They're mad. Of course, I was an active alcoholic at this time. Okay. It wasn't like detrimental to my life. I was functional alcoholic, but I was an alcoholic. I had been for 30 years. I'm sober now. I have been sober for 2 years and almost 7 months.
Congratulations.
But at the time I was an active alcoholic.
Yeah.
And at 2 o'clock in the morning, an active alcoholic's gonna be drunken in his bed, right?
Yeah.
I've always been in the habit myself. Before I start drinking, I always separated my firearm from the ammunition and kept them in separate rooms.
Yeah.
Just because I'm responsible. I'm a responsible individual. I know people that are get drunk, do stupid things, and so I separate everything and I keep them in separate rooms for that reason.
Yeah.
And apparently, my daughters were upset. They talked to their mom, and I don't know. I was sleeping at this time. I was sound asleep. Daughter's upset, talking to mom on the phone after I yell at them. And I'm in bed sleeping. Next thing I know, I wake up and I have 5 police officers surrounding my bed. They tell me that apparently I had said that I was going to commit suicide or something, and like that they had received a phone call from my children's mother who was concerned about me. In reality, we were going through a custody battle.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what she needed to keep my kids from me. And guess what? She got it. She got it.
I know exactly where you're going. Yeah.
So when she called them and they came to my house at 3:34 in the morning and woke me up from a dead sleep in my bed and told me that I was suicidal, I was like, no, I'm not. No, I'm sleeping in my bed. But at that point, they got to take you. The red flag law has already taken effect.
Yeah.
Right? Jake Laird law. It's already been taken into effect. They are in my house without a warrant. They've already seized my firearm without a warrant, and now they're seizing me without a warrant. And they put me in handcuffs. There is no evidence whatsoever about this. All right, and so I get locked up for 6 days. 6 days. You know,
That's crazy.
that 72-hour psych hold, 24-hour hold for the police department, which they didn't hold me at the police department. They held me at the psych unit.
That's
All right.
yeah.
Yeah. And then an additional 3 days because it was a weekend.
That's crazy.
So
yeah, because
yeah. So almost 7 days, 6 days, almost 7 days. I was locked
That's
up.
crazy.
Now they don't give you a phone call. All right.
Yeah.
So I couldn't call a lawyer. I couldn't call my work. I couldn't call anybody. You know.
Yeah.
And when I got upset about it, they threatened to drug me. You know? So I can either be upset about it and get drugged by these people. I don't know what they're going to get me.
Yeah.
Or I could just accept my situation and deal with it when I get out of here, whenever that is. You know?
Yeah.
And I got out, and like 2 weeks later, I received a notice in the mail, you know, that I have a court date for 2 months later for a hearing. 2 months later.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And by then, the damage was done. You know, I had lost my job. I couldn't afford to pay my rent, so I lost my apartment. Since I had then had an eviction on my record because I got evicted, I can't get an apartment for 5 years, so I'm homeless.
Yeah.
I'm homeless, no job, no
That's
job,
crazy.
no apartment, and now I have this dangerous label on me. So every time I go to apply for a job, they look up my name and see, oh, he's a dangerous person. Who's going to hire that guy?
Yeah.
Who is going to hire the guy that has a label of dangerous on his name? I have never committed a crime in my life. Say that trespassing charge afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe a couple speeding tickets. I think a speeding ticket and seatbelt violation is all I've had on my record.
Yeah.
So obviously not a dangerous person. You know? and I was working full time. I was holding down a place. I had a vehicle. I was taking care of my kids. I was trying to get custody of my kids.
Yeah.
And one phone call put my constitutional rights in the trash can.
Yeah. And that's
one phone call.
That's one of the things.
Yeah. So that's when I decided to start bringing it out into the public.
Yeah.
But but I'll tell you what. How's a guy who's homeless and no job supposed to make any money? No prospects of getting a job.
Yeah.
How is that guy supposed to make money to find an apartment? And how's that guy supposed to fight for his rights when he can't even get a job?
Yeah.
How's that going to happen? I can't even get a job now because I was labeled dangerous. You know?
That's crazy.
Luckily, there are some businesses that pay minimally that will accept anybody.
Yeah.
And that's what I got now. That's what I got now.
Like, that was one of the things that woke me up. Like, one of the reasons I ended up leaving the Republican Party was during Trump's first term when he was pushing the red flag laws, or he had said there was a shooting, and he had said something pretty close to, he's like, I like taking the guns first. And I'm like, wait a minute, like that. And then
I'll tell you what, I agree with a whole lot of what Trump does, a whole lot.
Yeah.
I completely disagree with that. I completely disagree with his stance on how to deal with the homeless, because he wanted to put them in camps in one of his speeches that he did before his second election.
Yeah.
He stated straight out he wanted to put the homeless into camps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like Trump says a lot of things without thinking.
Yeah.
He does. And I think with further thought on this, I think Trump would change his opinion on it.
Probably. I know, but I mean, well, he's done a lot better when it comes to guns this time around. But just that first, when he was sitting there at the table and he was the Democrats were talking about gun control, and he was like, "You got a different president now. I think now we can get a lot of this stuff passed and stuff." But but with this current administration, that aside, the red flag law, because that's what put me onto the red flag laws, and then I realized that Indiana was, because Pence was with him, and he was talking about Indiana as the example, because Indiana had red flag laws already, and then I started looking into it, and different incidents where there was one where a man was killed when the police tried to take his guns. Another was a street crosser. He was working for a school, and he'd help kids cross the street or something.
Yeah,
And I forget, I don't remember if he was sitting down at a breakfast or something. He said something, and someone misheard him, and then he got, and that put him in trouble too. Like they used the red flag laws on him for that.
yeah.
Like in
So it's now all of a sudden you got to watch what you say. It chills free speech because if you say the wrong thing, you're going to get red flagged.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't even have to be like, and that's the messed up thing is that they don't check first. Like they automatically, when they come ready to take your guns.
Yeah. It's a presumption of guilt for a non-crime.
Yeah, yeah.
And
honestly,
you know what?
Okay.
What's worse about that? You don't get a phone call, but you don't even get a lawyer. I can't afford a lawyer, and I couldn't afford. And I was like, can I get a court-appointed lawyer, a court-appointed attorney? And they said no because this isn't a criminal matter. So I couldn't even get a court-appointed attorney to represent me.
Yeah, like that's crazy. That's
yeah. And once I was finally able to get out and do some research on it, I couldn't even find any information on how I could fight the red flag. I ended up going to a women's law site, and that's the only place I found about appealing this and getting 180 days, to appeal it or to find you no longer dangerous and all that. I didn't find that for 2 years, but I finally found it on an obscure women's law site.
Of course.
Yeah. But apparently, this is the information they want to give women, when they're in abusive relationships and their man red flags them. But this isn't information they want to give a man when a woman red flags the man.
Yeah, it's
so because you can't find it on any other site except for this women's law site on how to do it.
Yeah, which I guess that's us failing too. So. Because, I mean, we really should look into it and be able to give the information on our side as well.
I'm a Christian, and I believe that God guides me different places for a reason.
Yes, sir.
And I wholeheartedly believe that. Everything I do is I step out into the darkness day by day, like literally. And I pray that God guides me to the right place. And so far, so good. I have not been let down once. He led me out that day, and I ran into the conventioneers doing a campaign event. And it just so happens that the wife of the one legislator that spoke out against the red flag law, that voted against it, was there.
Yeah.
And so, this whole Arab Fest Tyrants event that happened, that was completely unexpected. I did not think that 2 minutes and 2 seconds into walking into that place, that cop was going to come up and be that rude to me. How could anybody expect that to happen? Nobody can, And then for the woman to be recording me while telling me not to record her. and having a woman in a burkina standing directly behind the officers as they complain about my mask. I mean, I couldn't ask for that setup. I couldn't have planned it. I really couldn't.
Yeah.
And it just shows the ridiculousness of
it. Yeah. Yeah. It is. But yeah, I mean, God is good. He's he's faithful.
But God is good. God gave me this platform, and He put me in that place for a reason. You know? God wouldn't have pulled my ass up out of homelessness, and He gave me the senses that He did, and the ability to articulate myself in the way that I do, and the knowledge that I had.
Yeah.
Had He not meant for me to be the one that got red flagged that night, had He not intended me to have that experience of a year of homelessness, and if God didn't intend for me to have that, then I wouldn't have had it. Yeah. And so I accept it. I accept it gracefully.
Yeah.
And you know what? If God calls me to move my feet, I will not let Him down. I'm going to move my feet, and I'm going to say what I got to say. And I'll speak to who I have to speak to get this message out, that this red flag law needs repealed. It needs repealed because it's hurting honest, good people.
Yep. Yeah. Well, what do you say to the person? Because, I got to kind of play devil's advocate, so
I can't go right ahead.
Although I agree with you 100%, so these aren't really mine.
Right.
What do you say to the person? Like, well, what about the people who actually are suicidal and this law?
Generally, what happens is that people that have criminal behaviors, act out criminally, right?
Yeah.
And by then, they have reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime.
Yeah.
At which point they could take you in for the crime and evaluate you then.
Sometimes, well, I have a buddy worked at a.
If you're not committing a crime, they have no business even talking to you. Period.
You're right.
People can feel any way they want to feel. People feel sad all the time.
Yeah.
You know, they have that suicide hotline for a reason, right? People call that hotline and they want to talk, and they want to talk to somebody. So they talk to somebody, and then they feel better, and then they're not suicidal anymore. That's the whole point of the hotline, right?
Yeah.
But nah.
I mean, the ones that are going to do it are going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let me tell you this. I work in food service. That's what I've done my entire life. Food service industry. I've been a chef. You know, I worked every single position in a restaurant. I've been service manager, kitchen manager, store manager. I've done retail management. But let's just say I was a dangerous individual. Yeah. All right. You take away my gun. That doesn't stop me from being dangerous. That doesn't stop me from having exposure to 10,000 people's food every year. If I was dangerous, don't you think that would stop me from working around people's food?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, I could do a whole lot more damage with people's food in one day.
You're right.
Than I could do with a gun. I guarantee you.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm just saying that they don't look that hard.
It makes no logical sense.
Yeah, it does.
It makes no logical sense.
Yeah.
All it does is restrict people's liberty for a false sense of safety. That's what it does. They get this false sense of safety in their mind, but guess what? That person that's still dangerous, I'm back there making your sandwich.
Yeah. Well, what about...
I am. I'm dangerous, apparently, but I'm making your sandwich. You know? So come on now.
The other one would be...
It's a logical fallacy. It's a logical fallacy is what it is. And as soon as they see the logical fallacy, as soon as the people see the logical fallacy, will they allow fear to still trump their liberty? Probably.
Most people are sheep. That's the truth. But we're built to be that way. Like some people, that's one of the first depressing things about waking up is that realizing that a lot of people don't want to wake up, and ignorance is bliss. Because if you can play the game, you're not but once you wake up, you're like, you start to see stuff, and then you realize how hard it is to change because most people want to go, they have their shepherds. So, and they're loyal sheep to that shepherd. So,
well, I'll tell you what, I was a lot happier when I didn't know a whole lot about what was going on in the world. I was a lot happier being ignorant, you know. But you know what? Being happy myself personally isn't my goal. I mean, I'm a minimalist. As long as I got food in my belly and a roof over my head, I'm cool. I'm all right. You know, I don't need extras. I don't even drive right now. You know, I walk everywhere I need to go. You know, I don't need a whole lot. You know, I really don't. Yeah. Now, I could do a hell of a lot better if I was driving, absolutely. But you know what? I'd do a hell of a lot better if the government didn't say I was dangerous and tell the world I was dangerous when I'm not.
Yeah.
You know? So.
What would you say about another objection? School shootings and well, you know, because we've seen that the FBI often catches on, but they don't ever do nothing.
You notice none of all these shootings only happen in gun-free zones. That's the only place they happen.
Yeah.
You don't see these mass shootings in places where people have guns.
Yeah.
So restricting people's gun rights is what leads to having these soft targets. I mean, it seems like pretty simple mathematics to me.
It does.
But you know, people aren't going to go into a school and shoot it up if they know that those teachers are armed themselves.
Yeah.
You know, if they go into a place thinking that somebody's going to be shooting back, chances are they ain't going to go in there.
Yeah, because they're cowards. Yeah. They don't. That's the. And what always got me is
people are more worried about the tool than they are about the mindset of these people, and that's the wrong way to think. It's completely wrong to think that way.
And if you look at it, not most of them, but a lot of them are on the left, and you could if you went back like maybe a year or two, you could probably find them protesting, gun right, because of school shootings and saying stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then some of these same people are the ones that then target the same targets that they were like, oh,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
what about the kids?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. They know it's a soft target, easy hit.
yeah,
You know,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
it's
So
ridiculous. I mean, that sign with a circle and a gun in it and a line through it is an invitation to psychopaths. It really is. It's an
it is.
invitation.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So how are you going to how is it going to get repealed? So how like what
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not going to be easy, especially since a majority of the legislature, all but one, voted for it. It's not going to be easy to convince people.
yeah.
However, God does not put me where he puts me if he doesn't have something big in mind. And God doesn't do anything small. He doesn't,
Amen. Yeah.
he, he didn't lift me up off the street and out of alcoholism and out of that misery just so I could sit in a one-room apartment to myself and do nothing. He didn't do that.
Yeah.
He wants me to move. He wants me to do something. And so I'm doing it. I don't say no to God. God's moving me to do this, and it's going to happen because I don't care if 100% of the people voted for it. If God wants it done, it's going to get done.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. It's the way it is.
Yeah. I agree. This is one of them 2A issues. Is one of the issues that I'm people. I mean, you could say that I am a radical. I've moved way past the Republican Party when it comes to liberty. You said what?
I said I've been accused of being radical myself.
It's not a bad thing in this day and age because radical is just where the founders were. You read the founders and stuff.
Every single one of the founders were rebels. Every single one of them.
And they were liberal as well. Like not in the current sense.
They were liberal in the classical sense.
Yes.
Not in the modern sense.
Yeah, and I like reading I love reading the writings of the old Republicans in like H.L. Mencken and.
Well, they knew the importance of being able to articulate yourself and being able to express your words with a vocabulary that could be understood by the masses.
Yeah.
And today, unfortunately, now the masses understand, the crude fart jokes of Donald Trump. But
the slogans as well. Like
and so. I mean, like I said, I agree 100%, almost 100% with what Donald Trump's doing.
Yeah.
Because he's actually implementing things I've said that needed done for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I've said it publicly for 30 years, and everybody said I was radical for thinking. And now it's happening, and now it's working out great.
Yeah.
With the exception of, like I said, the homeless camp thing, and with the red flag laws. Those are the only two things I object to so far that I found with Trump.
I object
so far
to like.
I'm not saying it can't expand, but
yeah. Well, the war powers thing, not just with him. Like I've had this issue with the presidents before, especially as I get older and the more I learn about Bush Jr. It's not an issue of Trump. It's an issue of American presidents in all parties,
Well, I think a lot of people have this misunderstanding about what the United States has been for the last 50 years. You've heard the term world police, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, we weren't the world police. We were the police of the globalist European former empire that's been rebranded.
Yeah.
And when Trump got elected to office, he completely stripped the World Police Department away from Europe. They no longer had any sort of control over what the United States did.
Yeah.
And they flat out admitted it. This new system, isn't working. Not for them. It's not. It's working for America, great.
Yeah. To an extent, yeah. I mean, there's
The only reason they could
yeah.
afford free healthcare is because they weren't paying for defense.
Oh yeah, and we were paying. I mean, even the Ukraine thing, we paid for, like, we paid for their government, we paid for their benefits, and yet
We,
our
we
own
paid for a
veterans.
majority of Europe's benefits, a majority of, all of Europe's benefits basically we paid for.
Yeah,
Benefits that we don't get ourselves.
yeah, which doesn't make sense.
And so, as much as I would love to think of ourselves as an independent country, we were in fact the police arm of the former empire. And now it's been rebranded now, but it's still the empire. You know? And we broke away with that with Donald Trump. And the deep state, what Donald Trump keeps mentioning over and over and over again, the deep state. You've heard of like the Five Eyes of the deep state. Never heard of that, but different intelligence agencies.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That all work together. Well, all these different intelligence agencies were part of that deep state program, basically. Like the CIA, for instance, got all our money from narco traffic into the United States. The European agencies, they got their money from narco traffic from South America into Europe, and then they sold their drugs in Europe.
Yeah.
So when Trump took out Venezuela, he cut the empire off of their funding. That's what he did.
Yeah.
He just cut their funding. They had no more narco dollars. He basically cut the funding for the deep state by cutting off their narco dollars.
I mean,
and a lot of people don't see that because they don't look into it that deeply. You know.
I mean, that's fine. Like my issue isn't. It's not. It's so like I am a constitutionalist. I mean, I actually agree with the anti-federalists more than I agree with the federalists. I think a lot of their predictions were right. But then like just something about like war powers, like people say that they like to point out Jefferson, but if you go and read what Jefferson did, like he did not go to war without Congress. But so like for Venezuela, like we should have had a vote. For Iran, we should have had a vote. And we're actually seeing the things that the founders said would happen, like about why they placed the war powers in the powers of Congress and not at all in the presidency. Like we're starting to see some of those effects.
What happened was the same thing that happened with the red flag law. We gave up liberty for safety after 9/11.
Yeah.
The Patriot Act passed.
Oh yeah.
We gave up liberty for safety.
But I think it started under Nixon. Or it was like Nixon was like, was it Nixon when they passed the War Powers Act? And then they said they was trying to limit it.
Constitutionally, Congress should be the only one with war powers.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. And I agree with that 100%.
When they passed that law, they pretty like I don't get the War Powers Act because it delegates powers that are strictly Congress that all the founders say, and they're not allowed. They can't delegate.
What the president is supposed to do is he's supposed to be able to act to an immediate threat.
Yeah,
and he has so many days. I think it's 90 days, I believe, to do what he needs to do in defense before it has to be approved by Congress.
Yeah, well, it depends. So in the way it's used is not how it's supposed to be. So like if we're under an immediate attack, it's not an imminent. The Constitution doesn't say imminent threat. Like it has to be on.
Well, that all depends on what your idea of an imminent threat is. You see, because if we didn't shut down Venezuela, the European Union would still be getting all those narco dollars, and the deep state would still be funded here in the United States to be taken down Donald Trump.
Yeah, but that's cool. Then change the
it's not cool.
No, I'm saying like change the Constitution then, because the founders actually describe. They describe
after they've given the president this authority. You see what I'm saying? He was already given this authority. All right. So he would act this later on. He was given this authority, right? Underneath the Patriot Act.
No, the Patriot Act is unconstitutional. Just because someone passes a law doesn't make it constitutional.
The Patriot Act's not constitutional.
So to use it to use something that is unconstitutional to justify other actions, that thus makes you say you're giving it credibility to make it to say that it's okay. I don't like the Patriot Act.
I'm not saying it's okay. I agree with you 100% that it's constituted by the Constitution. According to constitutional law, Congress alone can declare
Yeah.
war. I agree 100%.
And I wanted
However,
Venezuela just like
however,
everybody
this
else. So
unconstitutional law, the Patriot Act, was indeed passed. It did pass
yeah.
with popular support, unfortunately.
Oh yeah. It's of course
And
politicians taking more power.
and so, whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, he does have this authority.
He does
You
not.
know, he does until it's repealed,
The no.
or until SCOTUS decides that the Patriot Act is unconstitutional. One of the two.
Well, the Supreme Court is not the sole determiner of what's constitutional. Like the founders also wrote about this a lot. That and actually the Supreme Court was meant to be the one of the weaker branches because it has no way to enforce it. It was so like, but that's I'm getting off. Sorry. That's a whole.
The Supreme Court is supposed to interpret the constitutional law on a case by case basis.
Sometimes
is what they do, and that'll set precedent.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Jefferson, so like their opinions, Jefferson even said that like even within the branches, so like basically, because Jefferson was one of the ones that had a big problem with the way the Supreme Court actually was turning out, and he said that that the actual individual branches themselves within their powers, they can determine what is unconstitutional or not, and then he says. But the main person, the main people, the people are the main ones. The states are the main ones who actually can determine whether something is. At the end of the day, they are the final say whether something is unconstitutional. But if you read the founders and you look at how they view the Supreme Court, you realize that the way the Supreme Court operates today, like they have usurped like so much power that they should not have.
The federal government has taken way more power than they should have from state governments. Absolutely, they have far overreached their authority.
Yeah, so
I would agree with that 100%.
And it's I can't say that. I mean, I can say that, but it's not smart to say that. But yeah. So, anyways, so the red flag laws. So the. What let me see. How do you think you're going to how do you think you'll sway enough legislators to legislators to repeal it?
I found that speaking the truth is what I can do. I can speak the truth, and I let God take care of the rest. You know.
Do you think
I'm not worried about changing anybody's minds. I mean, to be honest, I'm not even worried about what's going to happen 10 minutes from now. You know, because I know the victory is already mine. I already know it. I know the victory is mine already. I just don't know how God's going to go about doing it, using me as the ball of clay that He's got. You know, I may be useful. I hope I am.
Yeah.
You know? And so far, He seems to be putting me in the right place, doing the right things, and saying the right things.
Oh yeah. Well, don't worry. I add you to my list. I make a joke. I say I collect people, but like I like meeting people, and then I have this thing where I'm very good at seeing what people are good at or what they want, and then I meet other people who complement that, and then could actually further their goal. And I try to hook people up so that they can. That's the only way it works. Is if we all so many people work on their as individuals and they can't get anywhere. But then when you hook up with someone who has a little bit of knowledge in this area that you don't.
I've been in management for a lot of years, and a key part of management is being able to see people's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And if you see a strength in somebody and you have the ability to put them in a position to help move you forward, then that could do nothing but strengthen everybody as a whole. You know?
Yeah.
And
we all
and so being able to put the people that you have authority over in positions where they're strongest is a key factor in everything.
Yeah.
You know, and even just being out here, like I met the owner recently of Indiana Firearms Training. He was one of the delegates that was up there at the Republican convention.
Oh yeah.
And he approached me after I spoke to the delegates, and came up to me and said, "Hey, anything you need, get a hold of me. and I talked to him and gave him my information. And you don't know where anything's going to lead. You don't know.
Yeah.
And I know God knows things way more than I do. And when I make decisions myself, and I don't just trust in God to lead me in the right direction, I screw it up every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
It never fails. I will screw it up if I do it on my own. But if I trust in God to guide me, and I just keep moving forward, then it's worked so far.
Yeah. So what is your?
I have faith that I'm just going to move in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is your? We'll wrap it up here soon, but what is your religious beliefs? Or go into if you're comfortable.
No, I'm very comfortable with it. I'm a Christian. I was raised in the Catholic Church. I'm the youngest of 9 kids. I am not very impressed with the Catholic Church these days. Not at all. The Pope invites Islamists into the Vatican library to pray. He's hanging pride flags in the Vatican.
Yeah.
And that's unchristian. And for the person that's supposed to be infallible in faith and morals, well, that's pretty fallible.
Yeah.
And so, I can no longer claim Catholicism, but I am a Christian.
Yeah.
I read the Bible, including all 33 books of the Apocrypha. That's included in the Catholic Bible.
Yeah. Which you should. Everyone should.
Yeah.
Everyone should read it and know what's.
I read a lot of early Christian literature, St. Thomas Aquinas, Christian apologetics, theology. I've kind of swayed a little bit towards Buddhism at one point in my life, but I quickly went the opposite direction. But I like the concept of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I looked into it, and I seen how ridiculous it was. So
yeah.
I was like,
yeah, I know. I have friends.
I am a Christian.
Yeah.
I've been a born again Christian for many years. I did fall off for a long time.
Yeah.
But luckily, even though I fell off, God was still looking out for me.
Oh yeah.
And he corrected me when I needed it, and he corrected me hard, very hard.
Yeah.
It's a correction I'm never going to forget. And one thing I will never do is rebel against what God wants me to do. I will never do that again, because if I do, I know where it's going to lead.
Oh yeah, he's good at that. Yeah,
And it was not a good place. It was not a good place.
Was that the red flag thing, or is that a different?
I almost truly did become a dangerous person because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost. But thank God he lifted me out of it.
Yeah. Was that the red flag thing, or was there something else?
Well, this is after the red flag thing. The red flag thing, it took my job, it took my apartment, it took everything from me and made me homeless.
Yeah.
And all I had left now as a functional alcoholic was street and alcoholism.
Yeah, I could see that.
And so I didn't have a whole lot of choices at that point.
Yeah.
It was either prove that I'm dangerous or prove that I'm not. And I chose to prove that I'm not.
Yeah, that's good.
And so what I have to do next in order to get this off of my back, and it'll never be fully off of my back because it's forever going to be on my record. Forever. Or a public record. Unless I get it repealed. That is to go into court and have the judge find me no longer dangerous. Which is basically an admittance that I was dangerous to begin with.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't go in and have them find, oh, you're not dangerous. It has to be, you're no longer dangerous, which means I'm accepting their dangerous plea, their accusation of me being dangerous. I'm basically saying they did the right thing by taking my gun away in order to be able to get my gun back.
Yeah, like you don't have a third.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like, the only way I can get my rights back from the government is by admitting to the government that I was wrong to begin with, and having them say, "Okay, sir, now you're no longer dangerous."
Yeah.
And it feels like the Salem witch trials. You have to confess.
Yeah.
It really does. And I basically have to confess to being dangerous at one point in order to be no longer considered dangerous now. Even though I am adamant I was never dangerous to begin with.
Which yeah, which means there's no innocent. Like you can, you
No,
know what I
there
mean?
is no innocence. There is no innocence. You're
Uh,
guilty from the minute they break into your home and kidnap you and take you to a psychiatric ward. You're guilty. And you remain guilty until you admit to the judge that you were guilty, but you're just no longer dangerous. And then the prosecutor has to prove it, but not before them. The prosecuting attorney doesn't have to prove that you're that you're guilty of being dangerous.
Yeah.
You have to prove that you're not dangerous in this hearing that you get 2 months after you've already been made homeless, jobless, and a street person.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
How do you do that? I couldn't do it.
yeah. That's I mean, and then you're actually changing like because just sending police to someone's house to take with all of that, you're actually going to create more dangerous people because,
Exactly.
but it'll be
Exactly.
justified because they have.
And
They're,
I'll tell you what, that day, let me tell you, sir, they created a dangerous man that day. But
Yeah.
I'm dangerous to the tyrants. And I guarantee you, I'm going to continue being very, very dangerous to these tyrants.
yeah,
Very dangerous.
yeah. Isn't it?
And I'm going to get this turned around. I will. I swear I'm going to get this turned around. It's going to take my whole life, maybe. I don't care. But
Yeah.
I'm a bulldog, man. I'm a bulldog. Once I get my teeth into it, I am not letting go.
It shouldn't. You shouldn't. And like, and not neither am I. That's one of my because that's on my list of things to change in Indiana is the red flag law. That's actually on higher up on the list than a lot of other things. Because I seen the danger of that a long time ago. Like, because I wanted to create a third party at one time, and I still do. But there's stuff that has to be done. I've realized now there's other steps.
There's only one issue that I'm willing to personally invest myself in more, and that's abolition of abortion.
Oh yeah, that's at the top of my list too. So yeah.
So if the opportunity to save millions of lives comes before proving I'm not dangerous, then I will absolutely do that first.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But until that day comes, I am going to keep fighting against this.
Oh yeah. Both of those things are high up on my list. Like
that's good.
There's things that make Indiana. Like when I was growing up, I mean, even like Fort Wayne, but those things have kind of left, and you can see the people have changed as well. But they've brought a lot of people in from like other states. I mean, a lot of the housing program is them bringing people from like Chicago and Detroit, which I'm not saying I don't have a problem, but like it does change culture. Like you do get, you start to see a difference, and so. Like a lot of the Fort Wayne that I knew growing up is it's not there anymore. In some ways good, in some ways bad, but like because I mean like one of the things growing up that I always heard. So like I heard and then I witnessed it was like if you run from Fort Wayne PD, then you're gonna catch a beating. Like even if you give up. So like if you run, they surround and you just give up, they're gonna beat you. And I heard that for a long time, and then one day.
Mugshots page?
You said what?
Have you looked through the mugshot page?
No.
If you look through the mugshot page, count how many people in there have bruises on their face.
I will check that out.
That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say about that. Count how many people. Count how many people in the mugshots have their faces completely bruised up.
Yeah.
And that'll tell you.
Oh yeah, and I picked someone up he was from Chicago. I remember I had just got my license, and I don't know why it was nighttime, and I seen this dude. He was flagging, like he was waving his. So I just pulled over and I was like, "Hey, you need to ride somewhere?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I think he had me take him to the bus station or something. But he was all beat up, and it was downtown, which makes sense now that I think back to it, because he got released from the jail. Yeah. And he was like, man, he's like, I ran. He's like, I'm not from here. I ran from the police, and when they caught me, they beat the crap out of me. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of what they do here. And then I got to talk to some other people who had law enforcement, who were like, some of their family were like sheriffs and not Fort Wayne PD. And they would tell me stories of how like some of the sheriffs had to step in to make sure that certain people were safe because of, like, I'm like, man, like, uh, I mean, we still have that, but it's not as so proudly, like, people don't say it as much because it's not something that's uh, supported
Not
as
talked
much,
about in polite circles.
huh?
Not talked about in polite circles.
Yeah, like, well, police used to have more support,
It's kind
so
of like the hesitation of people calling that kick a nudge.
yeah, yeah, like it's
Yeah. You see, I don't have that hesitation. I mean, sometimes it's good for me, I guess. Sometimes it's bad, because my mouth can get me into trouble.
yeah,
It really can. But I say what's on my mind, and I'll tell you the truth. Whether at least what I think is the truth, if nothing else.
yeah,
Until somebody proves me differently. But
yeah.
I have no problem with saying what's on my mind.
Yeah. Do you see a difference between Sharon Tucker's administration and
Henry.
what? What'd you say?
Between Tucker and Henry.
Yeah, Henry. Yeah,
Well, Henry had more friends.
that's fair.
I would say that's about the limit.
Yeah,
That's about the limit of the differences. Yeah, he had more friends.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he played it well. How he played
Yeah.
even though he was dying, he still was for the party. He set that up.
And well, he had a lot of Republican friends.
Yeah, that's true.
And Sharon Tucker, not so many Republican friends.
Yeah,
Not so many Republican friends, and I think she's going to have a hard time getting elected.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe she got a lot of support on the other side of town. So
Well, yeah, we're majority, like you said, it's a majority conservative state, Indiana. The city of Fort Wayne is a majority conservative as well.
that's true.
And the reason we've had a Democrat mayor for so long is because he got along with all these Republicans so well.
Well, I think the majority of cities or not the majority. I think majority of the big cities. I think in Indiana or in other, of course, in other conservative states as well. A lot of them do have Democrat. Like it seems to be a trend that if the
liberal mayors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I mean, I want. We'll see.
I kind of think of that as like the way people vote is they don't want to concentrate all the power into one party in a local government, and I think they kind of do that on purpose. They'll like vote for a Republican for the mayor, and Democrats for the council, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Like in Fort Wayne, we've had a majority Republican council and usually it's a Democrat mayor for my entire life, basically.
Yeah.
I think with the exception of Paul Helmke.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I was young.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I want to run for mayor because, like, it's not having a party on the mayor. Because I've been watching, I've been reading a lot, and not having a party on the local level works because what people normally care about is, are the streets fixed? Like, are the basic things pretty much taken care of, and then everything else.
Are you wasting our money on a $280,000 toilet that can't stall?
Yeah, exactly. Like, but that's neither here. I could go on. I could rant about that too. Is there anything else I haven't brought up that you'd like to talk about?
Not that I can think about. If you just let your viewers know if they see somebody out on the sidewalk recording video, say hi and be nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Tell
them your channel.
It isn't necessary to be an asshole. It's not. And I prefer you come up and be nice than be an asshole. Even though if you're an asshole, it's going to get you a hell of a lot more views.
That's true.
I actually want positive interactions with people. I want people to come up and talk to me. I want to be able to explain and teach them exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I am not afraid to tell you what I'm doing. Now, there will be a rare occasion where I will do a silent audit, and that's where I just won't say anything to anybody. I'll just sit and record and see the reactions of people and the reactions of law enforcement.
Yeah.
And the only time I react or say anything is if they violate my rights. For instance, I was doing a silent audit over at Henry's when I was auditing that day. And when I got arrested for trespassing, I was doing a silent audit, and I didn't say anything because they put their hands on me before anybody said I couldn't be on the property.
Yeah.
So
There we go. Sorry.
But 99% of the time, I'll be happy to explain. If you're nice to me and polite, I'll be happy to explain exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's the name of your channel for everybody?
Allen County Constitutionalist on YouTube. It's also Allen County Constitutionalist on TikTok.
Okay.
Facebook, Allen County Constitutionalist as well. That's my page.
Yeah.
And on TikTok, it's going to be just Joe Renner.
On TikTok to what?
On Instagram, Joe Renner.
Joe Renner.
TikTok,
Okay,
it's Allen County Constitutionalist.
Gotcha. On TikTok or Instagram.
I'm trying to regain control of my Instagram account. For somebody tried hacking it after I got 10,000 followers. Somebody tried hacking my Instagram account and it got locked out. And it's attached to an email I haven't had in 25 years.
Oh,
so,
that sucks.
Yeah. So I got to work on regaining control of that. But
oh yeah, I got a YouTube channel that I was growing. I had a bunch of videos on there, and I logged out, not realizing that I didn't have I didn't write down the password. I thought I knew the password, and then when I typed it in, it didn't work. Oh, my camera's.
But yeah, check me out. The more views I get, the better. You know, I'm just trying to spread knowledge and spread the word. You know, spread liberty, man. That's what I'm about.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Well, I better call it quits for I'm having some technical difficulties.
Hey, anytime you want me on, man, you just let me know. I'll be happy to.
Heck yeah, I'll have you on. Like, don't tell me that because I'll have you on a bunch.
I don't mind. I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah. The way I see it, God wants people to see me. I'm gonna be seen by somebody. May as well be on your channel, right?
Yeah. Heck yeah. I like the way you think. Like just like group of people that I like the way they think. That don't have to agree with me all the time, but like we're all moving towards the same goal. So I like to give them more of a voice. What little more of the voice I can give, but yeah, it's growing slowly but surely. So you're welcome on.
I appreciate the opportunity. I do.
Yeah. But well, yeah, we'll talk more. I'll message you. We could talk off of here sometime.
Sure. Get a hold of me anytime.
I definitely will. But all right. Well, you take it. You have a good evening, and
you too, man.
Jehovah bless you and keep you. And
bless you as well, man. Keep me in your prayers, man, because God's got something big coming. I don't know what it is, but it's something big.
I definitely will. Me and my friends. So, all right. You have a good one. Peace.
Take it easy, man.
You too.